I thank you for that wonderful reception. You know, I'd marry this audience, but you know as well as I do, after the monologue, we'll have irreconcilable differences. And it'll break up. I'm Johnny Carson, the Idi Amin of comedy. I don't kill my jokes. They all die accidentally on the way out to here. Incidentally, those of you watching at home, it's 11:30 p.m. Do you know where your dog is? You look like a plantation owner tonight. You do, like you're working in jungles of Burma or something.
Really?
Certainly, very nice. I have a late report from the newsroom.
Uh-oh.
King Kong has just kidnapped Elizabeth Arden and is demanding electrolysis. Film at 11. I'm in a good mood today. You know why?
What?
We have finally got what we need out here. A really beautiful day. We have rain in Southern California. Ah. A little bit, not a lot. Yeah. It was a strange sight walking out today and hearing my lawn go, ah. My lawn must have been thirsty. Sucked up 3 blue jays. The cat and the neighbor's kid disappeared right into the... How much rain did we officially get?
I don't know.
Does anybody know? Not enough, you're right. Yeah, it was kind of drizzly, but it almost panicked people here in Southern California. They ran out and reported unidentified flying objects. Actually, it caused a panic in Sacramento. The switchboard lit up in our state capital, Sacramento, was swamped with telephone calls to Governor Brown. All from people saying, now can we flush? I've never seen so many people out here thankful for a rainy day like this. I understand as a gesture of gratitude, a group of people sacrificed a goat on Mark Spitz's lawn. All right, they didn't. No, the whole day has been loaded with good news. Not only has California finally gotten some much-needed rain, but I just got word that the NBC commissary has run out of everything. It's one of those days where everything is going. Why am I doing this? Like I'm starting to start a fire or something. It's not cold in here. Well, that's what's in the news today. Do you see that coffee may go to $4 a pound? That's right. It's almost $3 a pound now. They think by the end of the year, $4 a pound. Now, there are reports that Brazil has been accused of holding back coffee off of the market, right? And you read today that Texaco, they accused the Texaco company of withholding natural gas, something like 500 trillion cubic feet. Everything seems to be holding something back that's valuable. How come they never hold back red dye number 2? Or mercury? There seems to be plenty of that, but they never hold back on that. That's known as a social commentary joke, which have been known to get intelligent. Yes, that's true. Why don't they hold back? It's not laughs, it's just intelligent, heavy breathing. President Carter just completed. He has been in office 1 month. You know, he said the toughest part of his job today was getting Amy from behind his desk. Maybe you didn't see that picture in the paper today.
Apparently not.
Apparently not. It made most of the papers. You must have seen it. Big picture, and little Amy Carter is sitting behind the president's desk in the Oval Office. And I understand she picked up the hotline, called Prince Charles in England, and asked if he liked younger women. And believe it or not, and you probably won't, while Amy was sitting in the chair, a little 9-year-old Korean boy slipped into the Oval Office and slipped her an envelope of Monopoly money. See, there have been some, but the president did hold a, nothing bothers me today. It's raining. He did hold a press conference today. He wore a blue suit and a red tie instead of a sweater. The reason he wore a blue suit and a red tie, he's really auditioning for a Dean Martin roast, I understand. The reason he dressed up like that. What? What does that mean?
Comic rule of 3.
Comic rule of 3. I broke it again, huh? Okay. President Carter said also that he wants to invite the heads of every nation to meet him face to face, and that way he wants to meet all our CIA agents all over the world at one time. Because, you see, some of the heads of state have been accused. Did you read? Of course you didn't. Did you know? Did you see? Did somebody tell you? Have you heard rumors that President Jimmy Carter borrowed Harry Truman's old sign he used to have on his desk? Remember the sign? It was a little wooden plaque. Harry Truman had it on his desk. It says, "The buck stops here." Carter borrowed that, but I understand it's just temporary. Jimmy Carter's having one of his own made up for his desk. It says, "Honk if you love grits." Oh, we're friends again, okay. What else is happening? Violence on television is a big... We have very little violence on this show. I mean, we're late at night. We're allowed so much violence at our time of night. But the PTA is alarmed that violence is affecting children. And the networks, they say, are starting to cut back on the amount of violence that children will be exposed to. As a matter of fact, they're getting ready for some of their shows for next season. They're redoing a very famous Western. They're going to do it from non-violent standards now. It's called Pillow Fight at the OK Corral. See, that way there won't be any violence in it. They're also doing a non-violent remake of The Godfather for television. It's going to mean Happy Columbus Day, Charlie Brown. Will be that one. And in the opening, see, I wish I was armed like the guard over here. In the opening episode, have you ever seen SWAT?
Yes.
Well, they got to cut down on that. Yeah. So what they're doing, the SWAT team will be dispatched to get Morris the cat out of a tree. That's as violent as they are going to get. And as violent, I'm going to get violent in a moment. The networks claim they could eliminate 75% of all the violence from television if they just eliminated one show, the 6 o'clock news. Okay, what else is new? The Howard Hughes will thing, I can't even keep up with it anymore. Have you followed it lately? It's incredible. Some man delivered, he says, to Melvin Dumar the will, and Dumar took it to the church. And now they say another will has surfaced on a handwritten memo by Howard Hughes. And it said, "If I do not write another will in 5 years, this is my will." It's very confused. I get the feeling that Howard Hughes didn't die. He paid somebody else to die so Hughes could watch Ice Station Zebra in private. That was his favorite motion picture that he watched very often. Wish I had a trade. You can work with your hands, you know, like a shoemaker. Where are the old tradesmen coming from? Here's an interesting... a statistic that was in the papers today. I found it fascinating. I hope that you will find it also not only fascinating, but perhaps amusing. Did you know there is a greater incidence of suicide among dentists than the average person? Well, now, that doesn't sound particularly funny, but the reason is they say that dentists feel that their patients fear them, and that makes them very depressed. So you have a lot of dentists who are depressed, and apparently they can't handle that pressure. I have a dentist that feels that way. He very depressed. He once wrote a suicide note on a little dental mirror. It took him 2 hours. You know, that little teeny thing that they looked at, that small mirror. And then he got terribly despondent and tried to drill his wrists. Very sad case. Okay, tonight, on our show, did you tell them who? Of course you did.
Yes.
We have Mr. David Steinberg. We have Itzhak Perlman, a great violinist. We have Mr. Jack Douglas, crazy writer. And from the San Diego Zoo, with some strange animals, Joan Embery. So thank you for coming. We'll be right back after this word of interest. You know, for the first time out here, the disc jockey should say on the radio, it's a beautiful day in Southern California. They've kept saying for weeks, you know, it's a gorgeous day. And I don't know how much rain we've got, but I guess there's not enough to do.
Not a great deal here, but I think Northern California's getting them out. They need it the most.
They say it could rain out here for something like a week straight.
Right.
And
wouldn't make much difference. Yeah.
No, it would help, but wouldn't run off.
Anyway, I must mention something.
Excuse me, you have a...
What? Now, don't pull anything out.
You just...
Point it out, but don't...
All right, I'm not going to pull anything. You just have this one here.
Well, that's going from up there. That goes back up there. I thought you were pulling something out of my eyebrow.
I know, I wouldn't tweak your eyes.
Remember we made it? We made a deal 18 years ago. I wouldn't touch your eyebrows, and you wouldn't touch mine. I have to mention something because this is one of the biggest honors, really. And very few people get this. It's almost like a friar's roast when they roast you at the fire. No, the thing that you're getting from Harvard. That's the big, the Hasty Pudding Award.
I'm going back to Harvard University, Cambridge, this Friday night.
That's really
Harvard,
something.
Yeah, Massachusetts, and it's nice. It's the oldest theatrical organization, I guess, in college, something like 129 years. And every year, it's a lighthearted thing. It's kind of a kick. They select somebody, and they go back, and it's kind of it's nice.
Yeah, but in this very special way, that's like one of the highest awards you could receive.
Well, it'll be
It's
fun.
like being knighted.
It's cold back. Beg pardon?
It's similar to being knighted.
I don't think it's
It
quite
qualifies
similar to
because Harvard is one of the outstanding universities in the world.
It's the oldest university, I understand.
That's right. In the world? No, and here in the country.
What, in the
In
country?
the country, not in the world.
Well, of course not, because other countries were here long before.
Yeah.
It's the oldest university in this country.
I said it's one of the finest universities in the world. It ranks with the world universities.
I know that.
Well, to be honored by them and their theatrical organization for your prowess, I think is a great thing. It's like being, for you...
Prowess? Wait a minute, that sounds like I'm out the stud or something.
No.
Prowess.
For being so good at what you do. It's like being knighted. It's
They gave it
similar.
to Elizabeth Taylor last week.
Well, then there's like being knighted.
Yes, that's something else. Anyway, looking forward to getting back there. We handed out some, this Saturday, I believe it is. Is this the first one the president's held? They are having a radio show.
The call-in.
Open wire, where the American people can call the president directly, and I guess ask him any questions they want to ask, and I assume he's going to answer them on the radio. So we were kind of interested in what kind of questions he might get this Saturday. He's going to be in a lot of trouble if
this audience gets near a phone.
If this audience gets to a phone, the president is going to put him on infinity hold. Scott Roback Debbie Roback, is that it? There's two, both of you together? Where are you, Debbie? From Wisconsin? And this is what she was going to ask the president. Is it true Billy Carter's going to host the Gong Show? Now, you see... Can you see that for the first call, the president gets this all set up, and that's the first question he gets? I don't know. Billy, I like Billy. He's my guy. I think Billy's going to do a show called Bowling for Beer.
I like that show.
Yeah. Steve Zaremba? Where are you, Steve?
Up here.
Okay. Where are you from, Steve?
Youngstown, Ohio.
Youngstown, Ohio. If I had to wait in line as long to talk to the president as I did to see the Johnny Carson show, the first question I would ask is, where is the men's room? Well, sorry, Steve, about that.
Yeah.
I think our nearest one is what, the Esso station?
That's
up
station
on
the corner, yeah.
On Janet Peterson. Now, here's one I wouldn't know how to answer. Why does Chip live in the White House? Chip Carter, one of the sons. Is he living in the White House? How about Jack Carter?
They're all living there.
Are they all living there? Amy, Chip,
Right.
Jack?
Yes.
Miss Lillian's not living there.
No, she's traveling.
Billy's not going there. Billy wants no part of that at all. I think that's why Chip is staying there. Save the room for Billy in case Billy shows
see,
up.
I see.
I don't know. I suppose that would be kind of nice to live at the White House when you go out and wouldn't that be nice? What's your address?
1600.
No, you just put White House.
White House.
White House. Gilbert Flores. When will the peanut become the national fruit? You know, the state of Georgia, I read the other day, the state of Georgia, which is known as the peach state, has some citizens got together and they want to change it to the peanut state, which I would assume they probably will. But it's been the peach state for many years. Colleen O'Brien. Where are you, Colleen?
I'm up here. Okay.
You know any congressmen that need secretaries? I don't. I don't type, she says. Do you take shorthand, Colleen?
No.
Can you cross file?
What?
Can you? You're qualified. You got the job easy. No, yes to any of those questions, you cannot get a job there. No. I love it. Would you, Gene Levitt from Boston says, would you accept a collect call? I think all the calls they are accepting, are they not collect? They're all free. You don't have to pay for that. The only people who are really going to benefit from this is the phone company. David Myers from Mardi Gras City, Louisiana. Would he introduce me to the girl standing next to me in line? Never mind, her husband just walked up. Sorry about that, David. A lot of action out in the line here sometime. A lot of couple who's met there and married and have gone right on the Gong Show from there. Barb Beardsley from Boston. That's where I'm heading. Where are you, Barb? Okay. Is it true that in your heart you have lusted after Tommy Newsom? Yes, occasionally I lust for it. The president got these kind of calls. Can you imagine? They must screen them. Don't they have somebody, I would imagine, sitting there? Amy probably screens the calls. Oh, here's another funny one. How did you like your short-sheeted bed? Signed, Jerry Ford. Tim Ashlock suggested that. Not bad. Is it true peanuts? Boy, we're going to have so many peanut jokes on it. Is it true peanuts are the world's greatest aphrodisiac? I don't know.
You could answer. Last night you said you were kind of a peanut butter freak.
I am. I know. I don't think there's anything as a true aphrodisiac.
You don't?
No.
Oh.
Do you?
What?
I mean, they say oysters and certain foods will, but I think that's more of a myth, isn't it?
I don't know.
What? Paris, is it? Paris. Weddell, is that the last name? Weedell. I'm sorry, I blew them both, didn't I? Thought maybe a 50-50 chance to get one of them. Was Billy adopted? President is going to be in for a rough Saturday. Earl Hale. Did the Johnny Carson show have anything to do with you taking 300 TV sets out of the White House? Yeah, did you read that the other day? Apparently, all of the people, everybody who had television sets in the office, those were all taken out.
Yes.
I guess so they can do their work. What else do we have here? So far. Anyway, those are crazy questions. It'll be interesting to see how that works. I think we'll wait until we take a break before we bring Joan out. If you had a chance this Saturday to ask the president, you could get through, what would you ask him? I just threw that.
Real tough one. I'm not sure that that's such a great idea, doing that.
I don't know what he'll solve.
Some of the
over
crazy
phone.
questions you'll get. But I like the style. I think there's an attempt here to make this presidency seem different than it's been for the past several years, and I like that.
I think that's the idea.
There's kind of an open door thing, and I like that idea.
Yeah, that's right. I have a feeling, though, if somebody gives me a real tough personal question, they'll say, well, my staff is going to check into that, and of course we're very concerned, and so
It's
forth.
tough to handle, actually. He's a brave man to try it, I'll tell you.
I'm going to ask him
What?
if he can get somebody to carry that garment bag for him. He always comes off the plane with a garment bag. That's kind of the common touch, though, again, right?
The sweater, that's all part of it.
I can't wait. He should do one in jammies. fireside.
Maybe Dr. Denton.
Can't you see on the edge of the bed?
Oh, I'm just going to bed, but I like... And you're just in a pair of Dr. Denton's or something. And kind of give a nice... There was a couple of cards here I didn't read. One from Emma Velasco. Since you may not get through the present, we can do it here. It says, would you please keep an eye on my son, Victor, who's an honor guard with the United States Navy at Bowling Air Force Base. She was going to ask the president to look out for her son. So we'll pass that along to the president. Here's a gal. Is it Sharon? I can't read the last name.
Dribble.
Excuse me?
Dribble.
Dribble?
Fribble, I think.
T-R-I-B-L-E.
Don't get steamed.
God, the woman's coming after me. Tribble! Yes, Sharon Tribble.
What'd she say?
Well, she wants to know if the ERA bill, the Equal Rights Amendment, I suppose you're talking about that rather than earn, run, average, right? You know, passes Congress, will you pass it? Please don't. You're against the Equal Rights Amendment?
Right.
Why is that?
Takes all of our rights away from us instead of giving them back.
Figured it takes all the rights away from women rather than giving them back. No, could have a fight.
I'd like to be on the phone right now.
No, I'll get right back to you, Sharon. Yes, I'll check with my staff. Thank you, Miss... Is it Miss?
Yes.
Sorry. Ooh, sorry about that, Miss Tribble.
Yes.
We'll take a break. What do
Maybe
we
she
have
meet
to...
the guy who was looking for a girl on the line.
That's right, Sharon.
Where's that guy?
We have... What kind of animals do we have tonight? Anything that...
We never know. It's always
Anything dangerous?
Are they scary?
Some
Dangerous?
dangerous.
Wait a minute.
You're going to be so
I'll
far
be way down that couch.
You are not exactly the great white hunter, are you?
Well, you see,
I can see you
No, just
out
a minute.
there in
Just a minute.
In a rhino.
One night we had a tiger.
Here he comes.
Right? We had a tiger. Now where's the tiger? The tiger's right here. His head is right there, and he's looking over at me.
Whoa.
And he's looking like I'm his next meal.
Wow.
You have the desk in front of you. This is a large object. Animals can't bite through here to get to you. They get to me easily. You'll see.
You've got to look at them.
I do look at them.
If they see that there is fear in your eyes, they know that there is...
If they take a glance, they'll see it.
That's right. You just reach back there, it'll be there. Remember that joke? Well, makes no sense. We'll be right back after this with Joan and some strange animals. Okay. Tonight. Everybody always has a great time when Joan Embery from the San Diego Zoo joins us because she usually brings some strange animals, some not so strange. San Diego Zoo, I mentioned before, is one of the great zoos in the world, and they have what they call a unique Birds of Prey show, which is every day there. Would you welcome Joan Embery? Joan? Well,
This is a
the
new star.
foggiest idea what this is.
This is a black buck, and it is only 5 days old.
Is that all?
And when you watch it kick, it's hard to believe that an animal that young, they get up shortly after
Look
birth.
at that. 5 days old?
5 days old.
A black buck from where?
Uh-huh.
Africa?
They're from India.
India.
And
Mysterious India.
you can try and feed her, but
Look at the
you,
legs on her.
I'll watch that she doesn't jump, and you see if you can feed her. See, that's pretty, a lot of... Here, show her the bottle.
Bundle.
Yeah, see, come on. That's a good girl. You have to hold it up so that, yes. And they know that milk, it really calms them down. We use it when we're showing them. And she's being fed every 2 hours.
This is she.
Every 2 hours.
You say black now. Do they grow up to be black?
Okay, they have what's called sexual dimorphism, which means that by the time they're 3 years old,
Sounds good.
the female and the male are quite different in their appearance. The male gets black or a very dark brown, but the female stays this color.
I see.
So they look like two entirely different species, but actually they're the same.
She's starving to death.
Actually, she's not yet ready for her next bottle. We're feeding her a little bit early, but she's a real good feeder, and we like to see that because that means that they're healthy and they'll grow strong very quickly.
How big will she get?
They get about 32 inches at the shoulder. They're not extremely large. They get nice spiraled horns, about 20 inches long.
Yeah.
And they're hunted for their horns as a trophy and for meat. And it's unfortunate because it
Are they
has
endangered at all?
caused their decline. Well, they're breeding well in captivity, but there aren't very many of them. Actually, we have more, they say, in Texas than they have in India, because they're able to protect them and breed
Is
them
she
on
going to get
ranches.
angry when this runs out?
She might not be quite as
Sorry,
calm.
that's,
See, she's thinking about the milk and not about everything else
Sorry,
out here.
that's it. That's it.
Oh,
What was that you mean?
she's talking.
No, she's cute.
They're so sweet at this age. You notice that she has ear notches. And since we
What's that
have,
for?
well, at our wild animal park, we have hundreds of animals.
Maybe I can fake it.
In herds, sure.
That's what you do when you run out.
Gives you- And we use that for identification.
Oh,
We
I
can
see.
look through a binocular and
Follow
know,
them.
know her
Yeah.
exact number, know the date she was born, and her entire medical history, and how old she
Okay.
is.
Thank you. All right, we'll take her back and we'll...
Okay.
All right, school. I guess that's her name, Brunella? Okay. 5 days old.
Uh-oh. What's this?
I know it's in a cage and she's got a big glove on. That should tell you something.
Yes.
The critter that made all the noise backstage is very
I'm going to try to guess what that is. It's not
aggressive.
it's not a mongoose.
No. We have two tonight. This is actually called a hyrax, or
A hyrax?
right, or a dassy, and they're found. This is the Cape hyrax from South Africa. What's interesting about it is this animal is actually distantly related to the elephant and its foot structure.
Very distant.
Very distant.
They don't mate with
Now,
an
if you
elephant.
look like... No. Actually, they look like a small rodent, but they're in an order and family of their own. And they have...
Hyrax.
Hyrax.
Hyrax. They come from...
They're found in rocky outcroppings in Africa. They're also found in Syria and Arabia. And they have feet that look very much like an elephant. They have a hooved toe,
Right.
and it's flat on the bottom with a flat pad, and it has like a suction cup that enables these animals to climb up rocks.
Oh, you got a couple of little teeth sticking out in front, right?
Very sharp teeth and very aggressive.
What do they eat?
They eat vegetation, insects, grubs, things like this. And they
We're not
really...
going to take him out, are we?
Well, I was going to take him out, but he causes so much commotion. I think maybe we'll just
Let's let him be comfortable.
look at him like this.
Yeah, because he's got two little, you see those little...
But very incredible. They have 3 toes on the back and 4 on the front, and to think that an animal that looks like this could have a foot structure, something so very distantly related as the elephant.
That's interesting. Okay. Hyrax.
There you see the feet.
Can you get a close-up of the...
He's looking at my fingers.
Would he bite if you...
They can. These animals, although if they're hand-reared, can be very tame, but if they aren't, they're a little bit skeptical about being handled and react defensively, and that means biting. And
Well, that's a new animal to me.
Yeah.
that's a
You should meet a new animal every day.
Hyrax.
At least once a week. A hyrax. You ever heard of a hyrax? Okay. Saw that glove, and I said... Well, that's a goose?
This is a nene goose.
A nene goose?
This goose is very rare. It is the native bird of the Hawaiian Islands. They're found in Hawaii and in Maui, and he was hatched at the zoo. These animals numbered about 25,000 in the 1800s, and in the late 1950s, there were only less than 50 of them left. They were almost completely
A
extinct.
nene goose?
A nene goose. They are unusual because most of your geese are aquatic. These actually are found in mountainous regions and don't stick very close to the water at all. And
Seems very tame.
they were almost extinct. He's tame because he's what's called imprinted. A bird will look, when they're hatched out of the egg, they imprint to whatever they see at that time. If it's another bird, that's the parent, but if it's a human,
How do you call them?
the human's the parent. Well, I don't know. He's not really, usually they'll
Joan,
kind
why
of
are-
follow you around.
These feet are like folded over. What is that?
This one has
You notice
had...
that? I thought he was walking on
Yeah.
tiptoes or
Right,
something.
the reason this one was hand-reared was that when he hatched out of the egg, he had problems with his feet, and he's had surgery on them, and he's doing quite well to be able to walk around. This is a deformation in the animal before it hatches, and we try and correct it surgically, but through research, we're trying to keep this from happening with a lot of our other birds. I'm learning how
Want
to
me to get him
incubate.
for you or get
Sure.
her for you?
It's very tame. Very, very rare bird. We're now sending some of these back to the Hawaiian Islands where they'll again populate and be protected so that they will not become extinct.
There's two now you didn't know about. Hayrax?
Right.
Hayrax, is that right?
Hyrax.
Hyrax, or a hayrax.
Hi, Rex.
I do it the Western pronunciation. And a no-no goose.
Nay, nay.
Nay, nay. Yes.
Now that you know about them, you can explain them.
That's right, that's the...
I want you to ask a question when she goes back.
All right,
Later
certainly.
on about the...
Ask me, and then...
The little black buck. She said about the notch in her ear, how much they can tell from that. I want her to hear more about that. Later on.
What they can tell is that that's the particular one that they...
Oh, look at that.
What the hell is that? Looks like one of the Muppets.
You're close. It's a marmoset.
A marmoset.
From
Well, I've
South
heard of
America.
that.
And they are a lower member of the primate family. And they come from the Amazon region. There are all different types of marmosets. Golden marmosets. This one happens to be the white-eared. And they're
Get a
very
shot
small.
of that face. Turn that around. Look at that.
Yeah, we're
This
gonna get-
animal is full-grown. It likes mealworms. I think we have some back
Likes
on the-
mealworms?
Mealworms.
Is that what these
Put
are?
back on- He
Ugh.
sees them. Oh. Maybe put them in front of them.
Yeah. I mean, they're
The
crawly,
birds,
squiggly little
the
worms.
birds love them too. Look at there. Oops.
Doesn't that look good?
Let's see. Here. No. Look at this.
Obviously, they must bite because you have a large leather glove on there.
Well, right. But, you know, the animal is rather tame normally, but you have to understand that with all of these circumstances and the lights, an animal that's very tame in its own habitat can become very difficult to handle when they're frightened. Those are good. Now, they also eat fruit and vegetables and cereal-type foods. And we raise mealworms at the zoo for some of the birds.
He seems to like them.
Here.
No, thank you. I had a light lunch earlier.
They always have twins at birth, and it's the male that raises all of the young, not the
They
female.
always have twins?
Female has the young, usually. That's very common. And the male carries them on his back, and the female feeds them, but other than that, it's the husband that does the
Marmoset.
work. Marmoset.
Marmoset.
Only weigh about 1 ounce, less than an ounce at birth.
Strange looking little animal.
They're completely arboreal. They live in trees and come to the
I'm
ground.
not gonna pet him because I have a feeling he might.
He's all right now. He's calm. He's used to things. But if somebody were to make a quick move or be very, very loud, then that might. He's thinking about eating. We use food a lot.
Hi.
We have the harness on him because they are very adept climbers, and with all of the lights, you have
Okay.
just a field day up there.
Okay, let me pick up the rest of these just in case I get loose and want to breed or something. Okay, now you've got some reptiles.
Yes, we do.
We have some reptiles for you. Here, you see right away, everybody goes, yeah. We'll be right back. Didn't do that with a no-no goose, but yeah, reptiles. Yeah.
Nay, nay.
Okay, Joan has got some reptiles. I assume these are snakes. I don't know. Oh, boy.
Harmless.
Namaste, Cindy.
Oh, well, those aren't big. I thought you were going to come out with a huge... That's not a coral snake, is it?
No.
Because coral snakes are poisonous. I know that.
It's a corn snake.
Ah, that's harmless,
Right.
isn't it?
Well, harmless. They
Except
can,
the corn.
They can bite, and if aggravated, will. but
I
they-
don't intend to aggravate it. I have never aggravated a corn snake in my life.
Would you like to hold one? I'll show you.
Sure,
how.
sure.
Just grasp it right behind the head there.
Behind the head? Let's see, how are we going to do this? Because you have to let go before I...
Here, right there.
Right there.
And hold the head, and then
Hold the
support
head.
the body so
Support
that
the
it's
body.
comfortable. Right. The reason
This is Marlin Perkins, the corn snake. While Jim is setting the trap for the other snake. What kind of a snake is that?
This is also a corn snake. And the reason that we brought them, this one is quite rare. It's the albino form of the corn snake. You notice that this has basically 4 color patterns. And if you look, this one, the black is the albino trait.
He's wrapping himself around me. Is that all right? I mean,
yes, that's how they hold their position. They grasp onto a limb or the
actually,
ground.
snakes are very clean.
Very clean.
People think they're slimy, and don't throw that. What do you got there? You'll scare the snake. They're strong, aren't they? I mean, you can feel them.
Yes, they are.
This is a chicken.
That's a no-no chicken. Now, are these snakes native to this country?
Yes, they are. They're found in the southern states, and actually they are notorious for raiding chicken farms. And they're also called chicken snakes and rat snakes.
How can they eat a chicken?
Well, their jaws are actually hinged. They kill by constriction. They suffocate the animal, and they can take prey much
Look
larger
how he's wrapped
than
himself
themselves.
around the arm and is tightening up. So the blood stops coming to the hand, and you get gangrene, and the fingers fall into the cigarette box. You see, he's still circling.
You're a little bit too big of a prey for this particular snake. We take
thank
something
you.
like the large reticulate python or Indian python, which get about 18, 20
But snakes
feet
serve a
long.
very useful purpose. A lot of people don't like them.
Yes, they control the rodent populations.
But they're not slimy. They
No,
shed,
I think
guess.
maybe because they're shiny, people think that they look slimy.
They're very clean. They have
clean,
no odor.
and they're easy to take care of. And you can see
Am I
what
holding
they're...
him right?
That's right. As long as he's comfortable. If they really start squirming
how do
a lot,
I know
you know
when
that
he's
this...
comfortable?
Well, they'll either try and bite you, or they'll try and get away from you. You're doing very well, though.
Thank you.
There are 4 basic colors in snakes. All snakes have basically 4 colors. Any one...
He's wrapped himself around the microphone here. And this will be your guest host Monday. Look at this. Excuse me.
We have a couple more
Oh, all right.
that will show different. Now, these albino snakes are very valuable, and for that
Excuse
reason,
me.
they are being captively bred.
Yeah, got him there, all right. We have to, all right. One more snake, you say you have?
Right.
We'll show one more quickly. Then we have to go.
Okay.
Why do you have him in the bag?
Well, because these are actually your king
Famous
snakes.
bag snake.
Your king snake, and they will eat other snakes, including their own kind. Now, this one, if you want to take a hold of him the same way you did the other, and support there. Now, you'll notice the yellow. The king snake, the banded king snake, is yellow and black. Now, again, the black carries the albino trait. Looking for the head here.
Trying to make him comfortable, but it's not easy.
Whoa.
Oh, boy.
What's
All
that?
right. This is the exact same snake.
Oh, was that venom that came out of there?
No.
Oh, it wasn't. Ah.
I think this one was fed this morning.
How do snakes do that? They don't sit down, obviously, when they have... Listen, now look at this. He's going up my sleeve. Excuse me 1 second. Oh, there we are.
This is the same snake, but this is the regular color, the black and the yellow banded. And this one, the albino trait is carried over in what would be the black coloration.
I see.
So the yellow is still
They're really
there.
pretty, aren't they? I mean, if you like snakes, they're pretty.
They are pretty,
If you
and they're
don't like
clean.
them, they're not. In other words, he just really relieved himself.
Yes.
Didn't he?
Yes.
Where do snakes... I've never thought of this before, but... it's not important anyway. I just wonder where they... Is it...
They have found a place.
Yes. Is that the smell from... I think this one has answered my question. He's actually trying to get into my... He's clear up to here.
He's looking for shelter.
He's looking for shelter. Wonderful.
These are very very, very beneficial, and these actually will.
Yes.
Yes, this one is upset.
Okay, well.
See the mouth there?
Let's put him away
They're
for-
not really harmful, and the bite doesn't
You got 'em
usually
all right?
hurt that much. They will kill rattlesnakes, and they are immune to the venom. I
Mm-hmm.
think if we need to pick up a bag, there we go.
Hey, it's always fascinating when you're here.
Well,
Really,
thank
we
you.
have more fun. And
I enjoy-
people learn something, too.
Bringing them and showing you. So part of our collection, we sure have a lot of animals that we never could bring, but are very fascinating to see.
Doesn't want to go back in the bag, does he?
He likes it here.
Okay, thank you, Joni, for being
Thank
with
you.
us again. Joni. I never realized. Wow, just let me sponge down here a second.
Such a tiny animal.
Set a can of Airwick down here, a white flag would come out. Okay, we'll be right back. David Steinberg is with it. It's what is this? It's not good. I've never, 20 years I've been in, I've never heard this cue. Don't do that. What? Right. Okay, we'll do this, and then David Steinberg will do this. I don't think David Steinberg wanted to be out here earlier. I understand that he does not care for snakes at all. No way. But we have not seen him for a while. He's a very funny man. Would you welcome back, please, David Steinberg. Well, they told me this afternoon. They said, you know, be sure that Joan is gone with the snakes before David comes out. And I said, why? He said, David has a mortal, it's got to be a phobia.
It's
An unnatural.
natural to me. It's not even irrational at this point.
Oh.
It is I dislike them. I don't even see it's hard to find the word here. You can't say in describing my feeling that I dislike snakes.
Yeah.
You see, I dislike anchovies. Snakes, I hate. I'm never worried that if I'm lying in my hammock outside by the house that
Right.
an anchovy is going to bite me on the neck.
Right.
But I'm always looking out for snakes everywhere in the wintertime. It's an honest to goodness
It's a real fear.
real. I mean, it is incredible. Friends of mine who
Now, don't do that. Don't do that.
Oh no!
No, wait. Now, you see.
Now that man.
See, now, this is not even real. This is not even real. This is... Maybe if we start... Maybe if we start with a toy, I mean, you can work up to it.
For a man with an interesting sense of humor.
Yes, it's supposed to have rather sophisticated humor. A rubber snake is not your eclectic level of comedy, is it?
But you see,
Okay,
people think that I don't like and we're just going to leave it there and talk? My God.
No, when people... When
Oh, no, don't do that, John. I mean,
You don't even like... I'll put him under.
put him under here. And, you know, it's not impossible. I've seen those rubber things move.
They can't.
Oh, they can. I mean,
It's not just anthropomorphic. That could
oh,
actually...
no. And also, the rubber ones go for a certain part of the anatomy.
Where
that
does
is
this
terrifying.
fear, I won't call it an unnatural fear,
Yeah.
although you'd have to call it an unnatural fear because it
guess so.
seems bigger than life. Where did it start?
Right here in my heart. And it spread all over my whole body.
Does it have to do with all crawling things? Now, a lot of people just don't like anything that slithers.
No, just snakes. It's so interesting. I mean, I don't know what it is. If it had ears. You see, I like things with ears. And,
Honey rabbits.
yeah, nose. I mean, there's no advantage to a snake. A snake can't fetch your newspaper, you know. It's not going to bring your slippers. And on top of it, you see, people always say what you said, that it's, people think that they're slimy.
They're not.
They're not slimy, but they give off an aura of sliminess, you know? I mean, they convince me that, given the right circumstances, they could be slimy.
Whether they are or not.
Whether they are or not. And so that is terrifying to me. When I was in Israel, I was in Israel working on a kibbutz when I was 18 or 19 years old.
We never talked about that before.
No, I was just thinking of that because the snakes brought me back there. I've never dealt with the area. But the Israelis are very macho. You know, they like to be men. And I was working on a kibbutz. And the thing about working on a kibbutz is you have to really cut it in terms of working. So I first was on carrot patrol, in which you have to sort out the A carrots from the B carrots.
Right.
And you know, carrots are carrots to me. I didn't have any way in which to sort out one from the other. I had a kind of private means of which to determine what A carrot was from a B carrot.
I can imagine. I don't wish to ask what the...
No, it's a rare kind of game that has to do with Forrest Tucker, and I don't want to go into it. But
You had to sort carrots.
had to sort carrots. So that I wasn't successful at that because I started to put all carrots of all sizes into a box and crate, and they started coming back in complaints from across the country. So they moved me out to the fish ponds. And in the fish ponds, it's a pond about the size of a football field, and you work in the nude because it's about 110 degrees. And, you know, you're with Israelis and you're singing songs and having a wonderful time. And I said, you know, what I like here is you could see hundreds of fish. I said, I like working in the fish ponds, you know, right by the Jordan where there are hundreds, maybe 200 fish. And I said, no, there aren't 200 fish in this pond. There are 3 fish in the pond. The rest are snakes. Honest. Now, there are more. There are like 30 fish in the pond. But they said, but the thing about snakes is that they're harmless. They're not slimy. They don't bite you. Don't worry about it. Now, I knew that I couldn't reveal my fear to the Israelis because they'd make me try and overcome it, which is the first mistake. So I said, I have to go now, although not not quite in that octave.
Right.
A little higher than Minnie Riperton. And as I was running, this one guy, Amnon, I still remember this son of a gun, he grabbed me and he said, David, we're going to make you overcome your fear of snakes. And they took 2 gigundo ones, you know. And they were all over the place. I mean, if you wanted a snake, really all you had to do was go up, and here comes the snake.
You think they're fish.
And I thought up until that point, I was petrified. And they absolutely made me overcome my fear of snakes. They made me hold it by the tail. I twirled them around, you know, kind of lasso-like. And I overcame it for about maybe 6.5 seconds. I put the snakes down, and I disappeared to Peru.
Isn't that funny how those fears, and you don't really know where they come from?
Well, it must come from the family. It must come from
Somebody,
my
when you were a
mother.
child, when you first saw one, somebody said, oh,
Yeah.
And right away the child.
I guess so. Alligators I'm a little bit afraid of. But snakes-
Alligators, yeah, I can see an alligator.
Yeah. Do you have a rubber alligator?
No. I want to cue the rubber alligator. Let me take a break here. We'll do this commercial. We'll come right back here to the Zoo Parade. David, this is a fish. You see, we're going to work up. How you been? I haven't seen you for a while. Have you been watching the new, well, I guess it's the 2nd season now, or the 3rd season in television?
There's so
They used to
many.
have 1 season in television. It would go for 39 weeks. Then they had the 2nd season in case the 1st season wasn't too successful, and now they're like 3 new seasons.
They just go around the clock.
It gets tougher and tougher.
Well, I watch television all the time. I really like to watch it. The item that interested me most lately about television was that NBC has signed Gerald Ford
And?
and Henry Kissinger. And while I was sitting at home realizing that they have been signed, I started to agonize over finding them the right vehicle.
The right
Because,
property.
you know, television could eat people up just like that. So I figured with Ford and Kissinger, I thought of one that might be nice, kind of our series. You call it Sarnoff's Angels. And they would sit around in a living room, and a strange voice would come out of an intercom and say, "Let me make one thing perfectly clear." And they'd go off on their various events. I started to think maybe a sitcom. A sitcom. See, a situation comedy for Kissinger really wouldn't work because, you know, you can't see him saying, "Hi, hon, I'm home." You know?
How are the kids?
How are the kids? Yeah, doesn't work for Kissinger. But I thought that there is a way in which to make ex-President Ford work. What they do with me, we've discussed this privately, I think, what they do with me on situation comedies is they try to de-Jewify me.
They want to make you a little more...
Well, they want to take away my Jewishness. I'm very comfortable as a Jew. I mean, it's something that I do very easily,
Comes
and I'm
natural,
very
right?
proud of, and it comes natural to me, and I like it. But for some reason, the networks think that I the first thing they do is they change my name to like David Butterfield, you know.
Like you're fooling everybody.
Yeah, I'm going to fool everyone, and then I have you have a wife named either Debbie or Jeannie and two little blonde kids with
No
blue
Sadies
eyes.
at all.
No, so you can't detect any ethnicity there whatsoever. So that's what they do to me, but I'm an actor, so I don't mind that. And I don't think it's deliberate, you know. It's just that we're supposed to play all these parts anyway. But with Gerald Ford, I thought, since they won't let me play Jewish, and maybe the way in which to get some Jewishness on the air is through Gerald Ford. Now, Gerald Ford has the perfect WASP attitude. He kind of looks like a Fred McMurray type, you know, with the blonde
Midwest.
hair. Midwest. You could see him kind of tripping over something, you know. And it could be cute. It could be like a situation comedy. So I thought, given that Gerald Ford would be the one to do this, you still don't want to foist all this ethnic stuff on the public just right out there. So you have to do it in transitions. So the way I would do it for ex-President Ford is I would have him be in a sitcom kind of like The Wolf Man. Remember The Wolf Man?
Sure.
Where, 12 o'clock at night, his hands got hairy and, he changed into the Wolf Man. That's the way I would have his Jewishness occur. It would be easy for the networks
On
to take.
Saturday?
Well, wouldn't it? Yeah, it would have to be like this. He would come home and say hello to his wife Jeannie and his dog Skipper and have a martini and sit with the newspaper by the fireplace.
Have some coleslaw.
Yeah, all those Gentile things. Then he'd look into the newspaper and he'd see full moon tonight. And he'd say to his wife, "Dearest, I'm going to lock myself in the garage. And no matter what sounds you hear, I don't want you to come in and get me." He goes into the garage, locks the door, the full moon comes out, and the whole neighborhood hears these kinds of sounds from the garage. Oi, oi, oi! Oi, oi! Comes out at 9 o'clock in the morning, all sweaty. Says to his wife, "It's all right, dearest." And then what we involve ourselves with during the series is how this Jewishness creeps into his everyday dialogue. So let's say he's a stockbroker and he's sitting around having his meeting, and he'll say, "Well, gentlemen, I think that this stock situation could be pulled off with a little bit of luck."
You sneak it in.
Sneak it in very slowly.
Funny concept.
Well, it's a nice idea. It's
12 o'clock from the garage.
oi, oi, oi!
Boy,
Day
what
is
a night.
near.
I guess they're going to use him on commentaries and
Yeah, I guess he's going to
something like that.
analyze things maybe for the first time.
Okay, let me take a break. We'll be coming right back. Right here. With the Tuck Room. We're back. It always is a tremendous pleasure to have this gentleman with us. He is one of the great violinists of the world. He is in town to play with the Los Angeles Philharmonic Orchestra. And he begins his Western tour, which will take him from here to Portland, Oregon, then to San Francisco, and back to Los Angeles. This is his newest record album. It's called Vivaldi, The Four Seasons. Would you welcome, please, Mr. Itzhak Perlman. So beautiful, gorgeous.
This was a piece called Scherzo Tarantelle by Henry Wieniawski.
I was whistling it this morning.
I'm sure you were. And I'd just like to mention my pianist's name is Samuel Sanders.
Thank you, Samuel. Mind-blowing. Let me do this, we'll be right back. We're going to come right back. Here's a word from Windex, the window cleaner that cleans windows, and that's what it's supposed to do. Turns windows into beautiful windows. It's nice to have you here again, as it always is. You are
It's nice to be here.
so superb. You're going to play with the L.A. Philharmonic.
That's right. I'm playing with them tomorrow, and the day after tomorrow I'm doing the Shostakovich Violin Concerto with Gennady Rostchesvinsky.
Without putting you on the spot, how would you rate the Los Angeles Philharmonic with other Philharmonic orchestras
Great
around in
orchestra.
New York and Boston and so forth?
That's not difficult. Great orchestra.
Really?
Oh, yes. No, I always enjoy playing with them, and we've been really playing for quite a few years together, and they've really grown
Right.
the last, like 5-6 years since Zubin took over. It's been even longer.
I always enjoy it when we have an artist of your caliber on the show because the musicians in the band are awed knowing more about music than I do. But David and I were sitting here and we're saying, trying to imagine the practice and the dedication that anybody does who's a great artist has to spend
Oh, absolutely.
with your instrument day after day after day.
I've spent so many hours in front of the TV practicing my instrument. It's incredible.
In front of the TV.
You know how many Star Treks I've taken to do this?
Does that help sometime to have something else?
Listen.
Does that help to have something going on in
Oh,
the back?
listen, Spock has helped me through many a difficult time. Unbelievable.
That's interesting.
No, sometimes my most incredible, my record practicing ever was, I think, 2 days without stop. I was in England and I was watching a cricket match.
Oh, well.
And I just watched the match and practiced. It was fabulous. It was enjoyable, and of course it was all in slow motion. Cricket is like slow motion baseball.
And when they play cricket in England, they don't carry just the highlights
The whole
of what
thing.
they call the test match. It goes on for 2 or 3 days,
right.
morning, afternoon, and they're still playing cricket.
Yeah, it's marvelous. And there's, of course, you don't even have to hear the descriptions because it's every half an hour he says, "Oh, good shot."
Good shot.
But and then another half hour, nothing.
Nice,
and then
nice
you see the
bat.
guy going, and by half an hour, that's great practice.
Quite good, quite good. Let me ask you something. When you appear on our show, which is not exactly Lincoln Center, we're a melange, a show of comedy and craziness and so forth. Do the purists, like I've asked opera people the same thing, do they say, well, you shouldn't be appearing on that kind of a show, it's not...
Well, I'll tell you, I've never really had anybody come to me and say that you shouldn't. As a matter of fact, every time some people come to my concerts, and I always take this as a compliment because they come backstage and say, "Oh, I had to come and hear you because I saw you on the Johnny Carson show," So, and they haven't seen me anyplace else.
that's why we'd like to have artists on this
Exactly.
show.
I feel that artists should be put, musicians do not necessarily have to be put in an all-music sort of program.
Right.
Because, sometimes they used to do it, the big companies used to give a grant, and used to have an hour on prime time, but used to have it in a intermedia station. So meanwhile, all the major network, you had all your, great shows, and so people who, unless they were interested, they didn't watch. But if you put musicians on a show that a very kind of an audience watches, I think that's great.
I think
that does a lot of
Ed
service.
Sullivan was one of the first to realize the importance of that. Because he had a
absolutely. He had
mixture of a show
everybody.
and would bring an opera and a Bolshoi ballet and follow it with
Beatles.
Joan Sutherland and then the Beatles the next week, and it gives a variety.
Yeah, absolutely.
What kind of audience? You get a great mix of audience from young people to...
No, you get all sorts of audience. You get college audiences, of course. You know about college audience. A great audience. They're marvelous. You know that somehow when you play a college date, you know that everybody came there, not because they had to come or she had to come, but because they want to come, because they're really interested in music. And you get this kind of an audience. Of course, you get your sort of different sort of crowd that are mixed. But it's really, if you give to the audience, you get back. That's very important. Sometimes you get funny audiences, like in Scandinavia. You finish playing, like 5 minutes later, there's a slight, and this is, and the manager comes back, "Did you hear that great success you're having?"
In other words, they're not
he said, "There's
demonstrative at
nothing,
all."
absolutely nothing. And they go like that for half an hour, like that. And
They love you, but that's as far as they'll go.
Very successful. Very, very successful.
Intelligent,
Yes,
proper
I
type of
enjoyed
audience.
your playing awfully. May I I can't tell you how much I enjoyed. That's another
They
one.
can't tell you.
You know, I can't tell you how much I enjoyed the playing. So
Rather
don't
than
tell
saying,
me.
I
Don't
really
tell
enjoy it. They can't tell
No,
you.
I can't tell you.
Great place to have you here again. I wish you much luck with the Philharmonic and your tour. And David, as usual,
Thanks.
thanks. And I'll talk to ex-President Ford about that. I think you may have something. I'm humbled by that applause.